Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Local Influencers Podcast. Abel here, and today I am excited because I have someone who also hosts a podcast, and their podcast is a murder mystery paranormal podcast. It's one of, I believe, four hosts, and her name is Rianna. And am I right in saying that it's one of four hosts? You're one of four?
Yeah, so I'm the main host. I'll be on every episode, and then Emily, Cameron, and Zoe kind of cycle through.
Awesome.
So you'll get to
Well,
hear all of us.
thanks for being here. I'm excited to get into it because if you're like me, obviously you guys listening like podcasts, and I am obsessed with murder mystery. So when I saw that's what it was, I'm like, of course y'all guys could be on the podcast. Like I want to ask all the questions. Um, so let's just get into it. How long has your
You
podcast
got
been
it.
around? How long have you guys been around, and what made you say I want to
So
start
I
a murder
first,
mystery?
well, we've all just been kind of obsessed with horror movies and true crime and like the horror genre in general, basically since we were born. And we listen to a lot of other podcasts that talk about true crime and unexplained or like unsolved murders. And we just have all of this information floating around in our heads, haunting us, basically. So we made a podcast called The Things That Haunt Me so that we can share those stories with other people, mostly because we think it's really important that the victims' stories get heard, and also because it's really fun to just rip on the murderers because they suck.
Yeah, I know. And sometimes it's scary whenever it's like the murderer like kind of like unsolved mysteries whenever they're like still out there. Cause sometimes
Yeah.
um when I listen to episodes like that, it's like the murderer like escaped or they never found. I'm like, what? Why are you telling me this? So do y'all because for this podcast, the only research I really have to do is go and look at someone's Instagram, someone's website, read about them for like 10 minutes before they come on, and that's all I do. I don't plan anything for the show. I like it to be like a normal type of just like conversation flow. So how much time do y'all guys spend on like, okay, this is what we're going to talk about this week, so we need to like look it up and learn about it if y'all haven't heard about it? So how much time goes into it?
We usually spend about a week researching each topic. So we'll do our initial research, then cross reference that with any other media that exists about it. So we'll watch documentaries. We'll like look up if there were any news articles or if it was on any other kind of like TV shows or anything, just to make sure that we cover all our bases and get all of our information correct. It's not necessarily scripted, but we do write down like the key points that we want to talk about. And then it's just kind of conversational like this. So each person will tell a story each episode. So let's say I have Zoe on, I'll tell Zoe a story and she'll kind of play the part of the listener and like ask me questions. And then she'll tell a story and I'll play the listener's part and ask her questions.
Okay, cool. And so has there ever been an episode where all four of you were on? Have y'all done that?
We've only done one with three of us before. We haven't had all four of us sit in the room.
Okay. And I asked because there's technically three of us for this podcast. I'm the main host and creator, but um Abigail and Anne Marie have basically kind of taken over social media. So they've been running kind of like behind the scenes type of stuff. And
Hmm.
so I've only had, I think, Anne Marie on a podcast and then of course the three of us had like a team meeting like via Zoom, but um, I asked, and are you guys all from Corpus Christi or do y'all like Zoom or how does that
No,
work?
we all live together.
Oh, okay. Well, that helps like with scheduling. I mean,
Yeah.
God, I was gonna ask you about your scheduling because because you're a fellow podcaster, I've been doing this for like almost 10 years now. And so I used to do a podcast based on TV shows. So like I had one for almost every Freeform or ABC Family show at one time. So we covered like Shadowhunters, we covered Siren, the TV show, and on those all we did was like recap episodes. And then it was cool because for Siren, the only research we had to do, and I'm talking about this because you have to do research, was like we basically had to watch the episodes right before we
Mhm.
recorded. And it was cool because it started to get nerve-wracking at the point that the network actually reached out to us, and we actually got to like interview the entire cast, every like writer, director, producer, showrunners. Like we interviewed everyone on that show.
That's
Um,
super cool.
and I asked all that because of scheduling. And y'all don't have to worry about that, because it was me and then two girls, but two girls from the main host, and I would just hop temporarily every now and then get on. And one of the girls was from England, and the other one lived on the East Coast, and so we
Oh
had to
wow,
like
yeah, so different.
Skype call, and it was like 6 hour difference between one of us and 8 hours between, or 7 hours between the other, and so you're lucky that y'all live together to do that. So how do you determine who's going to be on the show? And I know, um yeah, I'm just really I'm curious because I want to know for like other people that are listening that may want to start a podcast, like how do you determine like, okay, this week will be me and you, or me and you, or
Basically have a list written down. Emily's kind of like the podcast mom. So she has a list of all of our topics that we want to do. And she'll be like, okay, well, these two things sound like they could go together. So y'all do these this week. And it's just kind of based off of what we're most interested in because we want to pick cases that we actually like care about so that we're more motivated to research it and do a good job. Like if I'm supposed to research a topic that doesn't interest me, I'm obviously not going to do as good of a job. So it's just kind of based on who wants to do what topics and how well they'll fit with each other.
cool. And so your podcast, what has been the freakiest thing that you've researched that you like actually got goosebumps on? Like, like you're like, we all do it. We're all laying in bed, we're Googling something, but you're Googling your research. What is the one thing that you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe I just read that or watched that or heard that? Or
We did one recently. It's our fourth episode. It's on the Diet Loft Pass incident. And I shouldn't have looked at the pictures, but I did. And they're rough. It's that was a thing that I looked up like late at night alone in my room and I was just like, "Oh god. I made a mistake. I should not have looked at this." But that one's also just weird because that one's also unsolved and there's a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding
Ooh.
it. So yeah, that one gets under my skin. I'm like, I don't like this.
Episode 4, so I'm gonna like bookmark that because I love when like I love to like freak myself out. And you know what's crazy, that I listen to them before bed.
Yeah,
I
same.
am such a freak. I'm so weird. I'm sorry, guys. Just that's just my thing. Like I listen to podcasts before bed.
Yeah, me too. And we also record at night. So we'll talk about these really heavy things and then be like, okay, good night.
Oh heck no. I'm recording like during the day before, like I think my cutoff time is like 7 or 8 on some days. And I'm like, I have all the lights on and we're not talking about scary things here. Um no, so what made you like, I know that you wanted to, y'all are interested in this genre. So what made you say like, let's start a podcast? Like, like what made you just like, hey, I want to start a podcast?
I think it's really just the fact that this is a topic we're passionate about and we want to be able to tell these people's stories. Um, we also just love learning about it. So it's an excuse to get to research more and share those stories with other people.
And so your podcast, how did you, I guess you kind of answered that, that y'all have read and heard stories and they actually like haunted you. So that's how you kind of came up with the name of,
Yeah, these are
oh
the things that haunt us. So we named it The Things That Haunt Me.
yeah, that's cool. Um and so let's talk about, again, for people that want to get into podcasting and stuff, how did you go about like hosting, or are y'all with like how do y'all upload y'all's, who do you use to upload your episodes to? Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about there. Your episodes to, cat caught my tongue.
We use Buzzsprout.
Oh,
So
same.
yeah, so we just upload our episodes and then you can apply to all of the different podcast directories through them.
Yeah, I've gone through so freaking many. I just transferred over from Anchor, and Anchor was great. Anchor is great because if you want to monetize, they basically will pay you just to, they give you like an ad of their own, and you can like plug in their ad and they'll pay you for
Mhm.
it. So that's
Yeah.
cool. But Buzzsprout has been so like great. I've only, and I just transferred. It's funny you say that because I just transferred our podcast. Like we have, I think 3 or 4 right now, and I just transferred all of them over there. So, is there ever you're new. I guess you're kind of new to this because you're only a few episodes in.
Yeah, we've
Have
only been
y'all?
doing it for a month. Our first episode was posted January 26th.
This is very addicting. Podcasting. Have you by any chance been like, oh, I want to start another podcast, or this is what like, oh, I could do a podcast on this maybe in the future. Has anything like perked your mind like that you're thinking about?
Not really. I mean, we love this topic so much that, and there's so much to explore in it that we're really just like, oh, I can cover this topic, but it's all within the same true crime paranormal family.
And are you guys talking about anything local? Like, we have our very own like local kind of like stories and like about the Smith building and you know
We haven't yet, but we've covered, and we did like a bonus episode for Valentine's Day, and that was the Texarkana Moonlight Murders. So we do highlight Texas, but we cover all over the world.
cool. So let's see. I You're the murder. What are you more interested in? Are you more interested in like the murder mystery or the paranormal? Like if you had to choose one or the other, what would you say that you're more interested in?
I think I'm more interested in true crime, but I just love paranormal, and I think that that's a nice, I guess, like palate cleanser. After I've been researching really heavy actual crimes, I get to be like, okay, here's a ghost story. So the paranormal stuff is like refreshing, but I think the true crime is what I'm really interested in.
And by any chance, have y'all talked about, or like, I want to say y'all talked about, I don't mean on the podcast, but I mean off air as a group, have y'all talked about like, hey, like, let's talk about like those big, like the big stories, like, what is it? Like, I think his name's Charles Manson.
Yeah.
Have y'all said like, okay, like we definitely want to talk about him, or is that something that you don't want to talk about because you feel like it's been told so many times already? Have y'all discussed that as a group?
Yeah, and we do want to cover some of those heavier, more known cases. But it's not a priority. We're trying to highlight more of the cases that you wouldn't know about. So, smaller town cases or things that don't get as much attention, either because maybe the victims were a minority of some kind, or for some reason their case just wasn't really popularized. We want to get those people's stories out there. So, that's our first priority, but we will have some of those more known ones mixed in.
Okay. And can I ask, because you bring up the victim and you've said that you want to tell her story, when you're researching this stuff, how do you go about researching for like certain stories where the victim like you want to tell their story? You know what I mean? Like, how would I, like how do you look that up that you're like, I want to tell about this, I want to tell a story about this person's life. Like, how do you know that person? You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to ask? Like, how do you
Yeah.
know?
So if they've survived, sometimes there's interviews that we can watch, or they'll have some kind of blog or website themselves where they talk about their experience. So we can look it up that way. Or we can find things that their families have posted or said in interviews or news stories. So that's kind of what we use to get information on them.
Okay. And about how long are your episodes each?
They're
Do you
usually
have?
around an hour.
Okay, cool. And I was gonna say, do y'all have like a? Have you discussed like a time limit? You're like, okay, let's not go over this, or you're just kind of letting the conversation flow.
We try to keep it under an hour and a half. That's like our maximum. People are going to stop listening to us if we go past an hour and a half.
Yeah, I definitely have seen podcasts out there, and I'm not going to name them, but their podcasts like 3 hours long. I'm like, what did you just do? Like, who's
Yeah.
I no, I don't have time for that. I'm not going to hear it. Um, so do you guys, I know you're podcasts, okay, and so are we, and so by the time this episode comes out everyone will know, but we're announcing soon that season 3 is actually will be featured on YouTube as well, and so will be a video kind of podcast as well. And so have you guys discussed maybe going, or are you already on YouTube, or have you discussed about maybe recording yourselves to YouTube, because that's a whole nother audience?
Yeah, we have been talking about that. I think right now our current plan is to upload the audio for the episodes we already have onto YouTube, and then maybe adding video in at a later date. But for now, we want to just get the audio up there so people on YouTube can hear it.
Yeah. And are you going to do, because it is a big thing now, like in podcasts, like seasons, like
Mhm.
season one through, one is this long. Do you guys have plans for that? Or are you just going to kind of continue on and not really break it up?
I think we're just gonna have it just episodic and not really break it up into seasons, unless at some point it makes sense to need to do that for some reason. But as of right now, we're just gonna keep it by the episodes.
Okay, cool. So is there anything that you want to let like our listeners know about your podcast that maybe would interest them, or is there anything you want to say about your podcast that maybe I haven't asked?
Sure. So the four of us we use pretty strong language. We're talking about some pretty gory subjects most of the time. So I do want to put out like a listener discretion advisory. If that's not your thing, then we're probably not your thing. We're also very LGBTQ plus positive. Um, all of us are queer, basically. So we're
Yay,
if
it's
that's not your
2021.
thing,
It's 2021. Everyone should be.
everyone's a little gay. I'm convinced. You cannot prove me wrong. Everyone's a little gay, but I digress. So, um, we're not very political or anything like that. But when we're talking about cases, we talk about like, oh, I wish that this system was reformed, and we'll voice our opinions on things. So we're pretty opinionated folk. Um, I don't know. We're a lot of fun. We're goofy. We're just like enjoying story time with each other, basically. So we
That's
make a
cool.
lot of dumb jokes. We sing through half of it most of the time. We'll like sing a sentence. Um, yeah, I don't know. We're just goofing off. It's
That's
just four really close friends having a good time telling each other horrible stories.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know I need to listen to episode 4 for sure, like you said. And I'm going to subscribe. And speaking of subscribe, they can listen to your podcast basically everywhere podcasts are found, especially if you're through Buzzsprout. Um,
Yeah,
so make sure you look it up. So right now is the time to plug anything and everything you want. Plug again the name of your show. I said they can find you everywhere, and then your social media. Now's the time to do that.
sure. Our podcast again is called The Things That Haunt Me. You can find us on Instagram at The Things That Haunt Me podcast. We're on Twitter at Things That Haunt. We have a link tree that's linktr.ee/The Things That Haunt Me, and that has the links to all of the podcast directories as well as our social media. We also have an email, The Things That Haunt Me podcast at gmail.com, where you can send in like listener stories if you have a cool haunted story you want to tell, or if you want to just give us feedback in general, you're welcome to email us. We love to hear from people. And we post new episodes every Tuesday.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rianna, for being here. I am excited to listen to your podcast. And guys, when you're listening to these podcasts, please make sure after you listen to it, leave a review because they really help all of us out. Leave a review, rate it 5-star. I mean, only if you want, but I mean, that helps.
We
Um,
would appreciate it.
yeah. So again, whenever you listen to podcasts, just hit at least rate it. If you're not going to leave a review, I don't think listeners understand how much that helps the podcast. So again, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to listen to your podcast. Like I said, I'm obsessed with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, thank
Just
you for having me and showcasing us. We really appreciate it. We just started up, so any kind of attention we can get, we're like, yes, please.
yeah, no
So thank you
problem.
so much.
No problem. And guys, that is it for this episode. Until we talk next time, please make sure you head out and visit somewhere cool in Corpus. And I'll talk to you guys next week.